Quarterfinal number 4 is underway, and we have the Shambler as our white Terran in the top left of Impulsion, going up against SmrtyCakes, the dark green Protoss. Shambler's already going for a forward stockade, so this will be an interesting series. This is also the biggest mismatch we have based on seeding. Shambler comes in here as seed number 2, being the only Class 1 player to participate, because while Shopkeeper Dog did sign up and was given seed number 1 based on his ranking, he did not participate in his opening match, letting Godwheat get a bye right into the semi-final. He will face Doglived in an Escozy Mirror. And we would have to have a pretty big upset here for Smarty to make it a Protoss Mirror in the second semi-final, but it is a possibility. Shambler did say he was a little bit busy and maybe a little bit sick. I can't remember. I feel like every time he's participating, though, he gets sick. I believe him when he says he's sick. I don't think he's just fibbing. I have a feeling, though, that something is cursed with him or something. He's paying out some kind of karmic debt for constantly being sick. That's the only explanation I can come up with. 2-gate for Smarty. Maverick stemming across the map. We will be seeing Bio versus the Protoss. Very cool. And the first unit is a Dracodon. So honestly, this is a fine choice. The anchor at the extremity of the base is pretty cute. But I think a Dracodon will be able to push this back, unless the anchor does something kind of fancy, right? But this is a very committed play. This isn't just a forward stockade for like a faster Huracan timing or something. This is Shambler. And he be shambling. Worker fight. Not quite the same thing as Battle Worker. That's a little bit different. Now, one thing that's a little bit tricky here is how do you get them into the anchor, right? The Dracodon's going to stand on top of the spot. Oh, unless Shambler... Oh, okay. Now he's just going to use it as a distraction and kill the workers. This could be pretty good. Mason has been killed by the Scribes. Did he send any more Mavs out? Okay, he did. They're slowly arriving, but can he get to the anchor, right? Scribes need a body block. Well, Shambler's not going to really do anything with it anyway. 2 more coming in. This looks a little bit dire. We've got 3 Dracodons. That's more than the Mavericks are. I don't think this is going to quite work out. And Smarty has the same worker count as well. I mean, does this mean that Shambler is basically just even? No, because there are Dracodons, and there are not enough Mavericks to deal with them. So, anchor tactic could have been better. You know, he could have landed it over here and started attacking the workers and the combat units as well, or whatever, you know, trying to repair. Could have been a thing as well. Needs to stem that Mav to get it out of dodge, but might not be able to. I think he's just going to die, yeah. See ya. Shambler is in deep doo-doo, that's for sure. Stockade emergency wall move does get canceled afterwards. The Masons are on the high ground to try to body block here. It's a dire spot, but it's the spot that we are at. No Huracan for armor end. Smarty just going to put on a clinic with the kiting, make himself look like a little bit like Neblime. His little winky face in the name as well. Dude, he's psyching him out. This is where if he was in voice chat with Shambler, he'd be like, "What's going on, bud?" Oh no, he would say buddy. He's not Godwheat. Godwheat would say bud. A good number of Mavericks now might be able to run this down. Remember, we got more reinforcements coming. The Masons are actually kind of body blocking the stimmed Mavs at that point, so that's a bit of a struggle. Shambo's not mining with all of his workers this whole time either, so it looks like, oh wow, he's really low in workers now that he lost those guys, but he effectively lost them the entire time since they did not end up harvesting resources. I love that he just keeps making Mavericks anyway. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Should have been Zerg. You. I don't quite know what that means. Shambler is saying he should have played Zerg, or Shambler is saying Smarty should have played Zerg. Either way, we may never know, but that's the closest thing you're going to get out of a GG from this game from Shambler. So there we go. Okay, game 1 goes to Smarty. Can we just like take a shower and forget that ever happened? Real games are starting soon, I swear. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the next round of games between the Shambler and Smarty. Apparently Smarty rolled Protoss. It's really funny if that's the case. Oh yeah, is Jujic the admin? Jujic is the admin. There you go. Shambler is the yellow Terran in the top left, and Smarty is in the bottom right as the Beaster Brown Protoss. He will be going for a gateway. We already have gas being mined, so Shambler will be harvesting Fulcrum here. Fulcrum resources. Is he going to do it forward again? Oh! Smarty plays without his glasses sometimes. That explains his color filter, where everything becomes like a weird blur. Does he mean squinting? Glaring? Eh. Looking intensely. Fulcrum coming up here for Shambler. 2-gate start for Smarty. Pretty similar to the last game from the Protoss side of it. I don't really imagine you would change anything after that last game. Scout comes in here and it'll see not really much going on. Shambler gonna add that second Fulcrum. His base layout's always a little bit funky looking. Sometimes it'll work out. He thrives in the chaos, it seems. Godwit has been talking about a tank push. A lot of people have been talking, maybe Smarty as well. Some people were telling me that there was a tank push that was really good versus Protoss, that was killing a lot of Protoss, and Shambler just refused to do it. Now, that was before this game was played, so I have no idea if maybe he decides to pull it out at the last second. I'm interested in seeing what it is. Shambler going to start harvesting from the reservoir, get a little bit of extra Vespine. We'll see if Smarty decides to control that. Man, if Smarty does play this map versus Neblime, assuming he actually beats Shambler, that... I hope he controls that on this map, too. Neblime seems to be the best out of anybody at, just taking it, and nobody challenges him. Nobody does it. Chopdog knows it's busted. He doesn't always challenge it, though. Does take me back to the Derelict days. At least that stuff was kind of in the middle of the map. A little bit easier to control. Legionnaire will beat Goliath. That's pretty good. That was I didn't expect that to hit the Goliath from that distance. So Smarty just casually clears all the mines. The Vulture was just not helping during that fight. Shambler looks like he's going to think about an expansion here. But we also have enough money for Smarty to expand himself. Does he want to? I guess so. Yeah, he's sending out the... No, he decided against it. Third gate? No. No. Embassy. Okay. I mean, there's no more vultures, and he scouted that, so he doesn't need it for detection. On location is the Ministry of Shambler. Yeah, that sounds like a really bad spot. Like, you heard about Ministry of Truth. That's bad enough. Ministry of Shambler. Ooh. Slightly delayed Nexus there, but nothing really too crazy. And we will be seeing that third Fulcrum. That was what I was waiting for, is what Shambler's going to be doing after this. Because I think you do need the third Fulc. But, I wouldn't mind somebody experimenting with like a Star Pad here or Stockades. Man, I wish Shopkeeper Dog did play. He would show so many cool versus Protoss moves. He knows how to win that matchup. He says it's unplayable, but he knows he knows how to win. Smarty just going to fall back, not going to bother doing the Neblime stutter step micro. Third gate coming. Keeps most of his units alive. Reggie in the chat asking if anyone else is getting the vibe that Shambler's locking in a little bit more. Yeah, he definitely... he had that planned for some reason. I don't know what. But he's definitely playing a standard now. Not going to go balls to the wall with that. Cyclops Man. Okay. Well, we had some people in the chat talking about Ramen building Cyclops and doing too much with that. Let's see if Shambler fares any differently. He does have his token Goliath in here as well to absorb a lot of pressure. And Cyclops will use it to great effect initially to try to get an advance. But he doesn't end up sticking to the high ground there. Little slice of high ground. Scrapyard coming to what is this building placement? Fourth Fulcrum is done. I like the little concave of Cyclops that he's got going. Artisan is starting up here and maybe earmarked to the bottom left. I got a lot of idle workers for Smarty to tend to when he can. He's copying Nebline a little bit too hard. Got him. Got him. So, the Matadors are coming. Goliath already brought down pretty low by those Dracodons. I guess if the Witness hangs around long enough and it's in the same area, it will be bopped. Like, in theory, I like Matador, but I wonder if it doesn't just kind of die a little bit too easily to kiting backwards, especially with Cyclops. Matador Cyclops is pretty good versus Zerg, but I don't know if it's very good versus Protoss. So far, it's working out okay. Shambler hasn't made too many foibles yet with his micro. Second Goliath out here as well to absorb a lot of that pressure that would normally be going on to the Cyclops themselves, so that's also helping out a lot. So yeah, he forces the Protoss back a little bit. We also have the Matadors out ready to take charge. Starpad is done, but we don't have any actual units. Remember, he's got a little bit extra Vespene this whole time because of the reservoir. Okay, Ardent Authority is coming. That's the tier 2 of choice, and he's also adding 2 more gateways. He's going to go up to 6 gate. I think Gateway Man has a pretty good shelf life versus Terran compositions that are sticking to the Fulcrum. I think even versus Phalanx, they're pretty good. I do think you need something a little bit extra on top, and Smarty's going for the Acantor. Like, defensively, that's a fine option, but I don't know that it helps you out too much trying to move versus what Shambler's been fielding. Matadors are going to be initially salved down. Reinforcements are not being sent to the front. The Dracodon's getting right on top of those Cyclops some of the time. And you can see the focus fire coming out of Shambler is working out pretty well for him initially. But he is going to get run down eventually. Those 4 Matadors could have helped out quite a bit. And even though Smarty's micro isn't as good as Nablime's, and Shambler's precision in terms of his right-clicking is a little bit better than what we've seen before as well, we are still seeing the Protoss come out on the better side of this, it looks like, because the rate of reinforcement was taking a little bit too long. The guy deployed, and then he just had to sit there and take it. Second Mason arrives, not for gas, though, for minerals. Interesting choice. 6th Fulcrum coming up. He's just producing an extra one every now and then. Ant-Seals are coming as well for shielding. Is this just Matador? Is it Matador Ant-Seal? What is he doing here? I don't think they work out super well versus the Dracodons. They'll slowly filter in some Blackjacks, it looks like, but yeah, the Acantor are actually pretty good versus Matador, to be honest with you. I love the dodging that's being attempted here, but it'll get a couple more shots off. It takes so long for the Matadors to actually kill it. Now, the Dracodons can finish the rest of those off because of the splash damage, and we got Zealots coming up as well. I'm just going to stop the Matadors from being able to do anything. 3rd base on the way now, 4-hour Protoss, just keeping the macro going. Looks like an attack was had over here. Zealot cleared the Masons, and then the Zealot got cleared by the Matador. So no more extra gas for Shambler. He goes for his 3rd base. On location, too, and actually a little bit off location. Scribes are up here to the top right, but the Matador doesn't bother chasing them, so... Okay, interesting. About a dozen gateway units moving up there with the Witness support as well. Worker count favoring our Terran. He's boxed in up here. There's no way out. So he's going to go down instead. Zealots might be a little bit short on life here, but I don't think the Matadors are going to be able to survive this encounter exactly. They are pretty tanky. I'll give them that. Also, 10 kills on this. Admittedly, it looks like a lot of the Masons did evacuate, but some of them stuck around, so... He's going to go ahead and try to see what he can do over here. He could transfer those excess workers down to his third base. Smarty's making some pretty good moves. It has to be said. The drop on top of the catching the Matadors was a good move. Keeping his macro going behind all of his production as well. Killing a couple of workers on the way out. He can stand and fight this, I think. I don't think the Goliaths alone are going to be enough. I'm a pretty big proponent of Goliath, but I don't think this is... I don't think this is a composition exactly. It's doing a little bit better than I thought it would. Hey, it actually forces him back with it, but... I don't know. Cantor slow crawling across. Maybe fourth base soon for Smarty. Adding positrons. I guess he wants the positron drop. He can also use it versus the ant seals, but yeah, I think the Strider count is eclipsing what Goliaths alone can deal with. Zealot heckling that third base as well, and Shambler lost the worker lead in the middle of that because of the Cantor. He's trying to muscle him away, but he's losing workers in the process. Can't dedicate his units there, and now the Acantor is here to finish the job. Blows right open through those Antseal shieldings. And he's only making Goliath, man. He's got a lot of idle Masons there. He's just going to task on now. The battle workers have received the order. Eesh. I'm a little bit surprised that Shambler went from, like, mostly Cyclops to pure Matador, and now pure Goliath? The Zealots come out there. No GG is called. Shambler has just been 2-0'd so far, and Smarty had to play standard versus him and still just walked away with it. It was a little bit too easy, wasn't it? I guess. We're going to be seeing some more moves come out from Smarty in this series than we thought. Show ain't over. We could still be in the way for a reverse sweep. Shambler has done it before versus lower seeded opposition. Let's see what happens behind Game 3. Shambler here needs to be flawless. 3 games in a row. Wins all of them. If he wants to face his battle brother of Nebelheim in the next round, and of course he does. He is our... I actually don't know what color this is. Is this Celadon? Emerald. Emerald Terran in the top right. And Smarty is the... I'm going to say dark... No, wait. Not dark spring green. What color is this? Maybe it is dark spring green. It was forest. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that one. So we got green versus green. Dark versus light. Shambler going for a stockade. He is the light of all Terrans. Beautiful. I do want to see a little bit more flexibility from Shambler. The problem with going for that really silly build in Game 1 is that I can see the vision. I can see where it can be useful. But Smarty went for... Like, maybe he was thinking Smarty would go for, like, a Legionnaire and the Mavericks would be able to out-DPS him. Instead, he went for a Drakodin, and that just immediately, like, countered a lot of what Shambler was doing there to try to build up a force with the Mavericks. Scribe Scout coming in. This map does have those middle temples here. We'll see if Smarty makes use of them. But right about now, it's just going to be the Mav show. The problem with going for Game 1, such an aggressive strat, that can fall right on its face and lose you the game almost immediately, is that you don't have as much runway as you think, you know? And it can be useful. Like, we saw Cannoli 6-pool Ramen successfully in Game 1 of his series. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't always... that you should never consider going for an aggressive strategy in Game 1 of a best of 5. But a best of 5 can be a long affair, as we saw in TVTs, you know, in the last Tribunal that we had. It can also be a very short one. So Shambler is going to need to dig deep, and I believe that the bio can catch Protosses off guard. But when he scouts the 2 stockades so early, he can just make a bunch of Drakodins. You can see him looking around to see if the same antics from Game 1 are going to happen. Not quite. Legionnaire confirming nothing in the natural. Only got a few Mavericks here, so... Gonna just run by that guy. But there's 2 Dracodons, and we will have another one pretty soon. See what he can do. I feel like Dracodons are just a little bit too powerful here for what's being attempted. Needs to restim pretty soon. Yeah, Shambler's got that timing down, but yeah, he split damage a little bit, and all of his Mavs have just been gunned down, defeated. He didn't even catch this guy in the middle mining. He's a thief stealing minerals from the middle of the map. The mineral roll. Surely an anchor? No, just more stockade. A lot of money in the bank for Shambler, actually, during this whole time. He hasn't harvested any Vespene. Ministry. There's a little bit of confidence in that. I mean, he's got cliff advantage. He's got a lot of Mavs. I don't think he's going to get run over, but I'd be a little bit spooked about a, Mass Gateway sort of response. And it does look like Smarty's planning for a fast Ardent, so could be Positron, more likely a Cantor. We saw the drop get off to some really good stuff last time around, and look at that. He drops the Embassy right below the Nexus. A Cantor drop is incoming, and honestly, I wouldn't mind dropping it right here and using the Envoy for range, for vision up the ramp, and then just shooting the Mavericks down with the Cantor from the low ground. I think that would be good enough, Stockade number 5 on the way. We're going to see a lot of Stockade units this time around, really doubling it down on the bio. And only now is Vespene starting to get added into it. Cyprian's coming out. I like it. We saw Aeud lose his Protoss to hit him up's Terran. And hit him up just made basically he made more units than just Cyprian. It was like Clerics a little bit and a lot of Mavs, but some Harakans, of course. But he was mostly Cyprian, man, and he just shellacked him. So we'd love to see what happens if Shambler can channel a little bit of that Leviathan energy. Legionnaire will be cut down to size as the Cyprians announce themselves. I like the little gold trim on their guns. I do think that adds something to their profile. There's a recent addition from Solstice, like a couple months ago. Maybe even more recently than that, honestly. Time bleeds into itself. Now, that first a Cantor is here, but no Envoy. I'm panning around to see. Nexus is pretty late. Envoy coming now. There's some advantages here for Shambler. He has presence at the big ramp into his sort of the natural and third fork. Zealot walks in here and will be gunned down. That should give Smarty some safety, but he has to watch out for drops. That's sort of what he's worried about. If Cyprian drops come in and wipe his mineral line, he could be pretty down and out. Some move out with some power here. So the Envoy's done. I'm not quite sure where it is. Right? Is it? No, I guess not. Maybe it got canceled. The Acantor's here. So, oh boy. The Mavericks are going to try to come in here, and the Acantor will shut it down pretty quickly, I feel like. Oh, there it is. He found it. If he had just gotten down that Acantor immediately inside the Envoy, this could have been a very different look. You can see that the Mavericks are starting to do some pretty good damage to the Drax, but Cyprians were not with the army. The Mavericks went ahead, and the Cyprians take a lot longer to move. Gets a shot off. Gonna need a little bit more. Chancy micro, man. It's really, really easy to lose the Envoy there if there's any focus fire from the Terran. Another Acantor gets queued up. Meanwhile, we got a lot more Cyprians, and the second base is starting to pay out dividends for Shambler. Worker count is only a little bit above Smarty, though. Seems like the Protoss is still in a fine position. Getting all this extra money from the middle, too. Unbelievable. Shambler is finding it difficult to live up to the reputation of the favorite here. But maybe the Cyprians can carry him to victory. He might remember that weekend wage where Hit 'em Up did win versus Protoss. Cantor unloads at the third base. Nothing there to receive it initially. One Cyprian was left behind to guard the common third. I haven't actually seen people take 6 or 12 on this map, but a lot of people will protect it, guard it with a single base, single unit at the base. Oh dear. Doesn't unload. Well, that was a gift over there. Shambler should feel pretty good about that. Crucible will empower the 3 gates. I don't think it's going to reach the Arden. If it was 1 tile over, it probably would. We're going to see what else is built around it. More gateways, of course. I guess if you get a lot of zealots, which Smarty has been making, it's going to be pretty hard for this Huracanless army to do much, to deal with these gateway units. And Akantor is also situationally a pretty good versus the Huracan. So I can kind of understand why Shambler has opted to not go for it. Ooh, this is a cheeky little move. Forcing an evacuation already. He moves over to the 3rd base. The witnesses are seeing all this, by the way. Nice initial work there. That could have been better. 3 dead Masons. Nice dodge. Automatic dodge. Oh, dear. Yeah, get him. Nope. No. Try again. You targeted the wrong unit. There you go. By the way, this whole time, Smarty has all those Cyprians at the ramp that he could be using, and now he's going to go ahead and use them. Down it will go. Finally. His army is in position, but I don't think it's going to get through 3 Acantors. Let's watch together and find out, because those Cyprians are very clumped up. Doesn't look like he really doesn't want to do this. It's got him kind of boxed in. Despite all those worker casualties, it's not like Smarty can expand from this position. He's going to try to, and he skips over this spot, and he's going to go he's going to go to 6 and then get shot by the Cyprian, isn't he? I love it. Hilarious. He doesn't lose it, so there's that. Why doesn't he just expand with this guy, you know? Build a Nexus at, I don't know. Yeah, there you go. So silly. Cantors are starting to get some nice shots off. 4 Cyprians going down. No real casualties on the other side. Shambler can't dance to this tune. He's got to get a ticket back home. Huracan's absorbed the initial blast, but there's so many Acantors now that I don't really think you can fix this by going for something on the ground aside from Phalanx, which, let's admit, you know, Shambler is capable of doing but far away from right now. He would need to make the pivot almost immediately. And after harvesting, what is that? 600 or 820 minerals, that scribe will be finally defeated. Good initial volley there of the Cyprians showing their form versus the Zealots. But I worry that the tempo is starting to fade. I mean, Shambler has all these... You know, he's achieved worker parity again. He's got that extra base. But what's he doing with it? He's just continuing to make Cyprians, more or less, versus Acantors. We were talking about that flexibility that it felt like Shambler was lacking at the end of Game 2, where he had gone from, like, mass this to mass that to mass the other thing. Cosmonarchy is a game about composition, so let's see what the vision is here as he adds more stockades to his 3rd base. One thing that's underrated about Shambler that goes overlooked when people assess his skill set, he's pretty good about just building more production all over the place. And that's got a different feel to it than just building production inside your main base. You can reinforce at your extra bases, you can produce units locally, you can have units kind of ambiently moving across the map from different angles. You're more likely to catch little insertion squads or stuff like this. Of course, right now it's not happening, but it is something that is a real deal. Vestry on the way for Shambler. He wants the Cleric, maybe the Shaman. Haven't had a chance to see Tier 2 from him yet. Cantor gets scooped up there and now goes for the kind of logical place you would expect it to go, but there are no units over here to defend just yet. Man. So Smarty's investing a lot of resources into this, but Shambler still has a pretty big worker advantage despite that. Gonna go down with the ship here. Not bad. Brings it back, you know. Could have maybe gotten another shot off there. That would have been so juicy. I didn't even think about that. I was like, yeah, he's just going to lose the Acantor without getting any more kills. He could have, dude. That could have been huge. With a capital U. The weirdest third base of all time is being taken on this map, but then we've got a more standard extra base to be taken. And it looks like bottom right might be up next. More stockades have been added as mentioned. We got clerics coming out. I mean, the Unitary Union is on the way. If we get architects or Unars here, what do you even do against that? What do you do against it as it is? Look at all the Acantors. He's got 13 of the things. Just setting off smart bombs on top of all of the bio. First couple Hurricanes to see the light of day. See a darkness instead pretty quickly. Black eye onto the Witness due to the Cyprian splash damage. But now the Zealots start to move on in. I don't think you need that high ground vision through the air units anymore. I think you got enough Zealots. And the Hurricanes are all dead, so what are you going to do about that? Still so many Acantors. The Zealots are not dying yet. And oh my god, don't even look at that. Oh, goodness. There's too many, man. There are way too many. How do you do? Oh, cleaved right down the middle. It's an explosion that is worth art. That's for sure. But that is also what looks to be a wrap. Bio was not the saving grace this day. Every unit getting pulled, the boys getting pulled. He at least gets to look at a bunch of gore before he is eliminated from the tournament. The Shambler will not be meeting Neblime in the semifinal. It will be SmrtyCakes instead, with all of his Acantor glory. Will we get a GG though? Okay. Excellent. What a beautiful display. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a 3-0 for Smarty. A full sweep, a clean sweep. And I hope you have enjoyed. An excellent time done, had by all, except for fans of the Shambler. I pour one out for you. And that will be that for this little jaunt. We've got our semifinals locked in. Doglived will take on Godwheat, and we have none other than Neblime taking on SmrtyCakes. So mirrors, Ascozi versus Ascozi, and Protoss versus Protoss. At the end of it, we'll have an Ascozi versus Protoss grand final. I'm excited, guys. GG.